everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Ultra Happy Podcast. I am your host, ultra runner and coach, Tania, and I am here with our magnificent co-host, Andy.
Hey,
Yay!
magnificent.
Magnificent. And today I am so excited to introduce you all a very crucial part of the whole team. I've already presented you with my coach. We already talked about mental strength and strategies. And one thing that also very, very important is obviously the nutrition part. So we are going to welcome, he is Albar. He is a BA in Nutrition and Wellness from Tecnológico de Monterrey. He is from Mexico, by the way. But now he's studying his master's in the University of North Carolina. So all the way from North Carolina.
Speaks better English than I do.
Exactly. From being a YMCA lecturer to being assessing all kind of athletes around the world, marathon runners, kickboxers, Crossfit, Strongmen as well. He works with my ex-coach Tosco. Yeah, you, me, and now me. Yeah. He has a clear understanding of the dietary requirements to perform at your highest level. So with many other qualifications, he had a vast CV. He sent me his CV and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to read all that. In sports nutritionist and sports science, he has been a great support, obviously, for me and for you and our health journey. So, and also helps all my athletes as well. Like most of my athletes go with Albar as well for a nutrition chat and their plans. So yeah, I want to introduce to Albar to the podcast. Hello.
Hey Albar.
Thank you guys for having me here. I'm really glad to participate and be in this space with you and talk a little bit more about the craziness that we are going to embark with.
I think that was the longest introduction in history.
I know.
I think you've got more degrees and more qualifications than any person we've ever met. Albar.
And I didn't even read all of them. He sent me the CV and it was like 3 pages long. And I'm like, I'm not going to read all that. We're just going to say that you are absolutely amazing. You don't have to, it's not that you needed to prove yourself, but you really have prove yourself multiple times. I can obviously personally, I've worked with you sideways like over 8 years, I think. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I think since pretty much I started running, it's been like since day one.
Since I think it was like 2016 we started working on together. Yeah,
exactly.
8 years.
So imagine that. So I think you met me since I was doing like 15K, 20K until obviously Spartans, because that's how I started to obviously now heading to our biggest challenge so far. I feel like every year is like, this is the biggest so far. This is the biggest so far.
A solid part of the team.
Exactly. So definitely you have seen the whole development, and obviously I wouldn't have been able to do it without you as well. So yeah, so just wanted, obviously I received so many questions, and we are also live in Instagram, in my Instagram. So we'll be receiving live questions from the crowd. If you guys have any questions, please go on I put it in my Instagram, but hopefully I will swap it to the Happy Podcast later. But I'm there. If you have any questions, people on Instagram, shoot them there. I got plenty already.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, this is a lot of people have posted a lot of questions.
Have been waiting for this one.
I hope you're prepared, Albar.
Yeah. I know. Like nutrition tends to be like this kind of taboo topic, and like people really are interested in it. So yeah.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. In fact, Albar, I was in previous podcasts, obviously the idea of this podcast is Tania's a crazy runner and I'm the one with the common sense, which isn't true, obviously. But I had mentioned that when I spoke to you a while ago, I was going through trouble I was going to the gym and different things, but I couldn't change my body shape and nothing. And you set me a couple of plans which completely changed exactly where I wanted to be. And there was things that you had done. For example, you had said about doing a protein shake at night before I went to my bed, which blew my mind. I never ever thought of that before. So people have been asking questions around that sort of stuff, haven't they? Like, so I think it'll be really interesting to dig deep a wee bit in this and find out what they're saying.
Well, first of all, let's go into a little bit of the chat of the challenge that we are, first going to tackle on. So my first question to you. So first is like my questions. Like,
Absolutely.
how the hell? So when someone comes to you, let's say crazy Tania, and tells puts you in front of this crazy idea, how do you start, planning, and how do you start saying, okay, this is what we're going to need to build to get there in a good, shape or good form? So how do you start thinking? How's the thinking process?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that really helps in this thinking process is like, already know you for a long, long time, and we have been trying, and we have like put multiple strategies, in the different kinds of races that you have engaged and the different kind of events. So one of the things that I feel confident with you is like we know each other for a long time. So I know how you respond, how you react, what do you like, what do you don't like, how often I have to give you something salty because like sweet, it's just like going to give you up. And like I know a little bit of like how you like soups or like pizza in the middle of the race. And probably some people will be like, that's gross. No, I don't like it. Yeah. But it is important to know the athlete. Now for this new adventure that we're going through, now it is important to know, and acknowledge that it is a really particular endeavor, because whenever you are running these races, we usually have the support, like you will get back to a camp and you'll have food in there, and we can do drop bags, and that give us like something like, okay, you don't have to carry your food, and it is like, it is, I would say it's a little bit more easier, but now it gets another layer of complexity, like knowing that you are needing to run with the whole food that you are going to be needing for those days. Also, one of the things that you are trying to build on when someone is doing ultra racing, it's be aware of the sport and be aware of the athlete. How long will they go to that race? What does it feel to do like a really long and step climb? And then like adding that to different kind of terrains, and also like it's not the same thing that one will say like, I'll be going to the mountains for 4 hours, that I'll be going to the mountains for 12 hours.
Yeah. Or
so,
5 days now.
or 5 days, and not going to the mountains. I'm going to a desert, on multiple deserts. So also it's important to understand the different weather conditions that are presenting during the races. Because as part of the nutritional approach, is not just the part of me giving you the energy or the fuel required, but also give you some strategies like pouring water in your head or in your calves or in your back, that will help you refresh. It also counts like that amount of water. It also needs to be considered to when you're doing these kind of plans. The mainly thing with you, it's like we need to know which kind of feeling suits better for you, and aiming that you'll be running at least, if you go fast, I'll say 6 hours, but I will think.
Okay, we know here that Tania is not a fast runner, right? So we know that. So definitely 6. No.
no, but I know, like I'm being just optimistic. Like if we go
Very
fast,
optimistic.
like,
Yeah.
I
Same
was-
as
and
us
it's
all.
just like downhill and like
Yeah.
I think like I was
Everything
thinking
is
around more of an
perfect.
8 hour, 10 hour, but okay.
Yeah, and then like, but if we're really realistic, like going to
Yeah,
8 or 10 hours race,
if we can put this
it
out
is
loud.
important to understand like
Him. Can
what
you
are
hear him?
you going to be feeling and how often, and also we need to take into consideration the breaks between flavors.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
that you will need it, because
Yep.
as much as the research told us like you need to give your athletes like high high glycemic foods, so it's like really sweet kind of
Yep.
foods. Yeah, if you're eating that for 8 hours, you get frustrated about that flavor, even though
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
sweet tooth and be like, oh yeah, I'm a sweet tooth, I really like it.
Yeah.
That it's not your case. That it's not your case. You're not
No.
sweet tooth. No.
No, I'm salty, so it's actually a problem, isn't it? Like to find
Yeah.
nutrition that is not as sweet. And I don't know if you've seen the last podcast, but Andy was trying all the nutrition, so he knows it's something really easy to get tired of.
Yeah.
That so I was actually saying that in the last previous podcast that it's not only about the taste, but also the consistency of the foods. Like you want also a little bit of different. Not taste, but consistency of it.
I tell you what was really interesting there, Albar, something that I didn't know about, and I would say a lot of people didn't know about, is that you think about the weather.
Yeah, I had it in my question actually. How's the weather affects? Yeah, are you planning it differently for me rather than someone that is, for example, running here in Scotland that is quite cold and rainy? Would the nutrition be different, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
for instance, one of the things that we will take in consideration, and we already talked about it during our evaluation, our nutritional
Yeah.
evaluation, it was like um, the the amount of electrolyte that we need to build up in our
Oh yeah.
storage.
Yeah.
No, because as we know, you'll lose a lot of like sodium, a lot of magnesium, a lot of calcium during your sweat. No,
Yeah.
and that will be an impediment for you to make the muscle contraction and the muscle brain connection to be efficient. And
Yeah.
especially that will also affect us in our minds. No, and
Yeah.
like with ultra endurance, like mind is a powerful weapon. If we have the fuel, if we have the things to keep in control mind, we're
Yeah.
able to domain our body. But
Absolutely.
once
Because I think if you're hungry, that's it. Like it's really harder to
Yeah.
to fight the demons if you are feeling weak and hungry and you're starting to hit that wall.
And Albar, how will that change from going to, for example, doing Jordan to doing Antarctica?
Okay, so that would change a little bit of like the amount of foods that we will have, but also will affect the recovery foods. No,
Yeah.
uh, the during that part, like in Jordan, we will try to get a little bit more of like refresh fruits, like refresh kind of foods. No, because the weather conditions at the end of the race, uh, the amount of being in the sun and like doing all this exercise, no, without without shelter, without a shadow, no, it just makes this complexity. But in the Antarctica, we will need like a little bit more of hot food, no. So we will
Yeah, that's
try
true.
to we will navigate on that like
Later
uh,
on.
Yeah.
yeah, one thing at a time, one thing
One thing at a time.
The reason I was
But
the reason sorry, Alba, the reason I was asking is because that I know that you can sweat just as much running a race in Antarctica as you could do in the desert. Because obviously you've got various amounts of layers on and different things. It's building up your internal heat. So that's why I was asking that question.
All right. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. Also, one of the things that we need to take in consideration in Antarctica is like the amount of layers that she'll be wearing,
Yep.
in comparison to the amount of layers that she'll be wearing in Jordan.
Yep.
Also, when you are in these cold weathers, you you lose water, but you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
lose water as much
As much. Yeah.
Yep.
as if you are sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the 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 cold air, it's the one that it's refreshing you and it's
Yeah.
trying to maintain your temperature on target. But
Yeah.
you lose water while you're breathing. No,
Yeah.
like I will give you this example. Like whenever it's like these cold, chilly kind of days that you go out and you like like do vapor from your mouth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's how you lose water during cold, because
Ah.
you will try
Oh.
to produce more you will lose a little bit more of water to keep those mucus lubricated, no, and that's why you get sick during
Ah,
That's how
cold
you
okay.
get
weathers,
sick.
because you don't drink a lot of water, you lose a lot of water, there's not so good lubrication with the mucus, and then the bacteria starts growing.
Exactly, because
Ah,
you don't get
yeah.
sick because it's cold. It's
Yep.
because of a bacteria, obviously.
Yeah,
In Mexico,
Yep.
you were told like, oh, you can't get out because you will get sick, and like
Yep.
you will think, oh, is the cold that is making me sick? But
Yep.
it's not. Obviously, it's a
yeah,
virus.
Yeah.
But there is a connection,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where you. That is very interesting because yeah, it was like a myth, but it's
Yeah.
a myth with a little bit
That's
of truth.
amazing. I feel like I'm learning
I
stuff
know.
already.
I just learned something new now. That excellent. So yeah, exactly. So we've been
Oh,
obviously
interesting.
working for, like he was saying, for many years together, which I think it's almost parallel to working with a coach as well, because that coach will have to know yourself as well.
Yep.
How good do you work? Are you prone to injuries, not to injuries? Same thing as Albar is like learning in that feedback of, oh, you like this, you don't like that, you respond well with this, you respond not well with this.
Yep.
So it's great that you're like both you and Sarah, like my coach, are kind of like in the same boat as.
Yep.
It's so important to have that feedback and that personal, communication with each other. That because we were chatting with Sarah about online, like, oh, you can download. Let's go into that. You can download a diet, right?
Yeah.
Lose 10 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
You Google that and you will have plenty of diets to follow. And same thing, programs, 10K, 50K, and they just download the program.
Yeah.
But that's not made for you. So how do you think that, how is that world looking for you? How bad and not bad is to do that kind of Googling.
And YouTube as well, Albar.
yeah.
See
But
the
now
amount
with
of things, because we've talked about this before.
influencers.
These influencers that come on and they say, drop 1 stone in 3 minutes. It's like they give you these bizarre things and they tell you just to eat kale for a week. Like, where does it all fit in? I mean, obviously common sense tells us that that's not going to work, but some of them are so professional and so believable, and there's such big production behind them that you look at it and think, there must be something in that.
I know. What's your take on all this madness? Like, what would you suggest?
So I'll say, as many products on internet, like nutritional advice, it's something that you need to be like really precautious and really aware of like what you're getting. No, um, one of the things that I really tell everyone, like being honest, there's not shortcuts. No, there's not
Exactly.
shortcuts in this process. It's like a
There's not.
long process. No, and it is like you have to be engaged with it. And even though like they say like I've been engaged with like 1 year, okay, congrats, you are already putting the steps, you're already doing the work, but this will be reflected in like 3, 4, 5 years. And also it's just like the all the things that you do in your private age will build for your next step, no, your next age, like step age. Like we will say like anything you do in your childhood will build on when you are in your young, no, and everything
Yeah.
when you are doing in your teenage years will build in your young adult version, and everything
Yeah.
that you do in your adulthood will be reflected in your elderly.
Right.
It's a good way of putting it.
That is a very good
Yeah,
way of
very
putting
good way
it.
of putting it.
Definitely. So right now is the
So
time to start building your
Yeah.
adulthood, let's say, like late
yeah,
or early adulthood.
yeah, your elder adulthood. Like how do I want to get into in my senior years, how do I reflect, or how I want to be in my senior years? Do I want to be a dependent senior, or I want to be an
Yeah.
independent senior that I'm able to do whatever I want? And
Functional. Yeah.
yeah,
And now that goes hand in hand as well with obviously training, and you not only keeping your bodies strong and healthy, not only what you eat but also what you work out and
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just there's so much misinformation out there, and I think it's really tricky for people to navigate that, without having a professional like yourself. Not that, and I would say there's probably some things out there that are good, but it's just so hard to wade through everything and identify what's good and bad.
So obviously, as you know, this is a bit of more of a running podcast, right? So most of our people listening, hopefully, well, we have a little bit of everything, but let's say most of them are runners. What would you say, like, why it's so different, or how should it be different in our nutrition compared to, let's say, a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, or let's say someone, say Andy and me, right? Because he's also having a plan from you, and he's, let's say, just your nutrition is more just to maybe look good, stay healthy, and all that. For me, for example, it's performance, right? I don't care how I look, because all I want to do is to perform well in my sport. I don't care if that would push me to look any way it looked. Like I don't really care at this point. I'm just focused in performing. When you're like, I do want to look, certain way, or I want to lose the belly. Yeah. Me, I don't care. If performing means you need to grab the belly, I would do it right now. Okay. So how is different that nutrition, for example?
Okay, so one of the things I want to first mention is like in sports, it's made believe that you need to be look into a certain kind of body type. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it is important also to acknowledge right now that there's like different kind of research going and being like more like there is a body composition that it's ideal for your athlete, and probably their other competitors will not share it. So that's important. Like when we're talking about like performance, we will focus about your body composition in a way that permits you to perform at your highest level.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter if you have like the six pack or not, or whatever. Yeah. No, but if you perform better in that kind of shape, that having, I don't know, like a shredder version of you. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like.
I think that would be me though. Like I don't think I could perform good if I am repped, because that will mean that my calories will have to be really slim. Like I would have to be like obviously in a deficit calorie deficit. I don't think I would be able to perform. And most importantly, I wouldn't be happy. And that is the whole point of this, to find like that happy balance.
Exactly about it. No, and now what's the main difference? No, it's the main difference between like a runner and a powerlifter.
Or just someone that does it for pure health, like just.
Yeah, it's the fueling.
Yeah.
No, it's the fueling. No, when you're running and especially, well, it depends like the run. No, but like for instance, you that are more into an endurance part, more like an stamina. We'll use a little bit more carbohydrates. We'll use a little bit more of fats, but good fats, not like saturated fats. A little bit more of nuts, avocado oil.
Yeah.
Those kind of fats that will help you also to perform in an aerobic phase. It's going back to your metabolism and your metabolism pathways that you will use. During the exercise, because when you're doing powerlifting, or like weightlifting, the even though like you are doing some reps, those reps will be, I don't know, each rep will cost you 5 seconds, 10 seconds, as much. No. And then when we were talking about like, oh yeah, I'm going for a run for 26 miles, it's just like Well,
Yeah,
she's not doing that rep for like 10 seconds. No,
Yeah.
she'll do it like she'll do that contraction probably like every second
Yeah.
for 5 hours.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the muscle damage that it's done, it's completely different.
So the recovery as well, obviously that
Yeah.
obviously entails.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned metabolism because that
Yeah.
was one of the questions that we've got.
Well, that was actually one of my questions,
Yeah.
Albar. I was saying to Tanya that I think in modern days, so in the current climate of discussion about fitness and nutrition, you used to hear metabolism used a lot, and it was the blame of everything. People would always blame, no matter what it was,
have
on
a
how
slow
slow their
metabolism.
metabolism or whatever. And I think that for me, it almost sounds like the word metabolism's gone and it's been replaced by calorie deficit. Or, it seems like the terminology's changed a wee bit. But obviously, and you can maybe talk us through a wee bit about how important it is to manage your metabolism and what you can do.
And what is metabolism,
Yeah.
first of all? Because I'm a little bit, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we can start with that. No, metabolism is it is all these reactions that we use, in our body to synthesize and also so it is there are two pathways, anabolism and catabolism, and that's are like how we build complex structure from single structures, and how we digest or how we disrupt complex structure to single structures. So we have both ways, both pathways, and we are always doing it in our body. How we synthesize our cells, how we synthesize our muscle, our fats, our blood cells, whatever. And how we do the breakdown so we can have the fuels and the different kind of chemical reactions going in our body. So that's metabolism. So when someone is talking about like I have a slow metabolism, I'm just like, how do you measure slow metabolism? How do you measure like you know what I do?
Yeah.
I really, my body, it's really difficult to do, or it takes longer to do chemical reactions, and I'm just like, that's that that that's not a lot of sense. No,
Yeah, it's
you need,
not measurable.
yeah, it's not measurable. So
All right.
when everyone
Okay.
says like I have a slow metabolism, it's like I don't think so. Let's think about a little bit more deep. Like let's think about like what are you doing?
When you eat
What
it.
are, what are you eating? How much are you resting?
Yeah. How much are you moving?
How much you're moving? What's the stress in your life? Also, that's a really good part. Like this homeostasis of between stress and like gain muscle and fat gain. So yeah, there are different kind of things that will affect your body composition, and not only just like, oh, I'm just not eating enough or I'm eating a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously includes how much you're moving, like you said, how much you're sleeping. I think that one's starting to get into the conversation as well, like how much you're resting and recovering. So thank God that is like another conversation that is starting to grow, because I think before we all had the idea of like go hard and go home sort of thing, and now everyone's kind of like understanding that it's not maybe the ideal way to keep a sustainable, progress, I guess. And like you said, you said the key word homeostasis in your body. That's sort of what you want to achieve, just to create that nice balance where you can perform, but also be happy about it. Because you can perform fueling with these foods, but if you're not going to be happy eating it, like what is the cost on that?
Also just on that, Albar, it's no wonder that people have shifted off saying metabolism because it's super complex.
Oh,
You know
so
what I mean?
maybe they're like understanding like there's no way to like measure
to really measure it.
That is
Yeah,
wrong
but
to say.
also like the second part of what I was saying, sorry, was about the calorie deficit. That seems to be a thing just now where everybody's saying that what you do is as long as you work at a calorie deficit and you're doing an element of training, then you'll lose weight. But then that's, I don't want to say it's a myth, but it's not 100% correct either, is it?
So I think with calorie deficit, it is important to understand and like see how are we using it, because I think we start using it um, to break some myths. No, especially
Yeah.
like you have to go keto, you have to do these long fastings, no,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and all these things, no, and it's just like those programs are working because you are doing caloric deficit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, because you're eating less. That's why you're having like weight loss. It
Yeah.
is not because it's like, oh, you need to fast because that's the key for, I don't know, for weight loss.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like no. The thing is just like, well, there's a balance, no. So if
Yeah.
you start like if you're if you're at the start and eating, I don't know, like 4,000 calories, and then you start like fasting and you diminish that to 2,000 calories, obviously you
Of
will
course
lose
they're
weight.
going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you in the same comparison that you will start like with 4,000 calories and you go to a nutritional plan with 2,000 calories that are um, throughout the whole day instead of like fasting, you also lose the weight. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which one was better? The one that better suits you. No,
Okay.
the ones that also makes you happy and the ones that adjust to your lifestyle.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
if you
Okay.
are like all day like going into the office and be like, I'm fasting and
Unhappy. Yeah.
I'm hungry, I cannot concentrate, I'm unhappy about it. It's just like
There's no
it's
way.
not working for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
you don't
And then
have to be
also
miserable.
we're talking about weight loss, but also obviously weight loss. We're not even tapping into how is that weight conform of fat or muscle. That's very
I-
dangerous
Absolutely.
to say.
Yeah, it's something also that we doesn't like. They say like, yeah, I lose 10 pounds. Yeah,
Probably
I
muscle, man. Like
yeah, yeah, you can lose 10 pounds of muscle, of water, no, of
yeah,
fat,
exactly.
but the amount you the time on that weight loss is different for any of these
Yeah.
any of these parts of the body. So
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You can I think fat is the one that takes the longest. Or correct me
yeah,
if I'm wrong.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's really interesting hearing about it because I think that there's two camps when it comes to fasting. There's a camp of no, it's like that shouldn't be right. It sounds almost dangerous in some ways, and then there's people that are very advocative about it.
You can say whatever rocks your boat.
Yeah, and I've read a lot of studies recently about the health benefits that they're now coming out saying that there is from fasting, because what happens is it puts your body into a particular type of state that it starts repairing itself. Now that's a very easy way of saying it, but I mean, I'm never sure about where that all goes. It
I
seems
guess you
very
can-
confusing, the
Would
bracket
you,
and
like
everything.
it's good to try it, I guess, if you're like if
Yeah.
you're wondering what
But
you
under
know,
the right
what would-
conditions, like Albar said,
I
you
wouldn't
have
be
to
able
be-
to do it because I know
Yep.
because of the amount of movement
Yeah.
I'm doing. I think Albar. First of all, I always ask Albar if I'm allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, Alvar,
Like have
can I do fasting? He will be like, hell no. I asked him one day, can I be, because I saw that movie I was reading that book. Remember the book that was like so trendy about moving to plant-based.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, and there was a documentary and everyone was going mental. And I thought, why not try it? And I had a conversation with Alvar. I was like, hey, do you think I can, plant-based? And Alvar is like, no.
no, o sea, yeah.
Easily answer, no.
Yeah.
No, like I told you know that part because we were like talking about it, and I was like, I know yourself. I know yourself. I know your like your flavors and your taste and like being like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yep.
I'll be like, Tanya, that's
Really?
Yeah.
it's not your conviction.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I guess, Albar, that if someone was a vegetarian or a vegan and they were doing what Tanya was doing, you would have a very specific thing that they have to go down a very specific
Yeah,
path.
yeah.
And
Much
So-
more
so
than
Yeah.
a regular person, probably, isn't it?
So yeah, they you can be a vegan plain athlete and perform
Yeah.
at the same stage, and that's
Yeah.
we can go both ways. No, the other thing is like it is important for both of these athletes to have like regular checkups. No, like
Yeah.
Tanya, I always tell her like, hey, I need you to do like blood test. No,
yeah.
you know, like I asked her for blood
I
test
do
because-
not like those tests, by the way.
don't.
We'll share a funny video for
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah,
I do
like,
not enjoy those.
Yeah, like I need to know about your blood test. I need to know
Yeah.
about your body composition. No, because I need to be aware like how are you not just only to seeing you and your weight does
Yeah.
not have like the whole information. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when
that is so important. Yeah, that's great that you touched that bit. Like your
Yeah,
weight
like-
loss or your gain weight or whatever is not is the most relevant important thing about your fitness journey.
Yeah, 'cause it's individual.
It has to be all about your inside, your composition, like you were saying,
Composition,
blood
yeah,
perhaps. Yeah.
your body composition, your blood test, how are you dealing? You have any health issue that we need to be aware of, like we need to take in
Yeah.
consideration if you're taking any medications, how is your workload, all those kind of stuff. Like it just makes a complexity. And going back for like I don't remember which question was, but it's just like whenever you ask Google about a meal plan,
hmm Google doesn't know this.
doesn't know that those kind of stuff, doesn't
Yeah.
know you, doesn't have that
Yeah.
engagement, doesn't have that conversation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's something that people are skipping. People are like, oh, I just want this. No, and it's just like, but do
Yeah.
you really?
Speaking about
You've said something
you-
similar to what I was speaking to Sarah about, because I was saying to Sarah about obviously with the introduction of AI and the impact that that's making on the fitness market, that how does it work? I mean, because obviously it doesn't understand you, so it's exactly the same with what
Yeah.
Albar's. He's
I think
literally
it's-
said the same thing. as
Obviously,
Sarah.
that is a tool, right? But I think obviously the tool is out there, and then now we have the responsibility of using it
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
responsible way.
100%.
So obviously, reading about it, and if you really if you're serious about your health and all that, just really not only take the word from whatever Google, whatever Google is saying, like
Yeah.
maybe do a little bit more research. Talk to professionals. That's what I've been
Yeah.
saying all the time. And guys that I'm listening or watching, I am putting you here in front, great professionals to tap into. Sarah, or I'm sure Alvar would be more than happy to, if you have any questions, to, reach out. They are professionals in this subject. They have studied for years
Yeah.
to answer this. So also it's very, because I see also a lot of PTs that they did like the 6-month course, and they go out there giving out,
There was one section in the
Nutrition.
book.
and they're going out there
Yeah.
giving nutrition plans. And I say that is so dangerous as well,
Yeah.
because yes, we can advise, but I wouldn't never put that, because I
Yeah.
know that I love the coaching side. I love learning about physiology, and I love the body mechanics and all that. But I wouldn't, I respect so much what the other studies are, and each one has their own. That's why also part of what I say usually they stay in your lane is,
Yep.
stay in your lane. If you're a coach and you love that, just tap into it and leave the nutrition side to proper professionals, because how often do you see that, Alvar, around?
Yeah, I see it a lot. Like,
And you're like,
I need
oh,
both
God.
ways.
It's both ways, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I have found like nutritionists that are like, oh, I'll be your coach, and coaches
Yeah.
that'll be like, I'll be your nutritionist, and be like, I think if you stayed in your lane and you are able to share your notes with your peers and
Yep.
understand the needs and what's the program is going to be and how the athlete is going to be developing throughout the season, it is a better way and it's more a successful way to
Yeah.
everybody is a win-win-win. No?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Totally. And we're talking about all this, obviously. And let's say someone, an athlete, the same question I did to Sarah. Let's say someone doesn't have the means or the,
Yeah, the money or
the money
whatever.
or whatever to reach out to, to contact a professional, have a professional nutritionist, get them their plans or their nutrition plan. In really in a short summary, what would you recommend these people to what is the big no-nos for you or red flags to or what they can do to start with, maybe shifting or, making a change?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the main things, it's just like put vegetables on your plate. No,
Pretty simple.
let's start with a simple thing. Like
Yeah.
usually, what it happens is like we don't need a lot of vegetables, so it's just like
Right.
at least for your lunch and dinner, put vegetables on it. No, and
Yeah.
make it colorful. No, uh, with a variety of colors, you will be gaining a lot of the antioxidants you need.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's good. Um, avoid a little bit of the fried food, no, and try to eat a little bit more of whole grains, no,
Yeah.
instead of like plain grains or like whole flour you can use, no. Doing those small changes can
Yeah.
benefit you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
And I
Uh,
love that you said maybe a little bit of the fried food. It's not a complete rid of it,
Yeah.
correct.
You need to
Yeah.
live a
So
little bit.
yeah. So it's just like okay, I don't know, and start doing small changes. Probably it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't know. I eat 5 times out during the week. Okay, try to diminish that to 3. No,
Yeah.
Right.
and that try to
Exactly.
diminish
Just
that to
small
2.
changes.
Yeah.
I think it's
Just
the
small
same.
changes.
Exactly. It's the
Yeah.
same as approaching a big distance. Just
Yeah.
break it down in a tiny bit, just a tiny bit by a tiny bit. Don't try to chop everything off because obviously it's going to make it less sustainable,
Yeah.
right?
But I remember
Yeah.
when I spoke to Albar with my plan before, and the same with you, is we would talk about calories and things, and you would say to me, well, eat as much greens and as much fruit as you can. In fact, do you know what? For you, Andy, fruit's free. You know what I mean? Fruit's free. So eat as much as you can because what you'll do is you'll get all those nutrients
Well,
and
it
things.
depends on the person.
Yeah, it'll depend on the person. But that, again, was really great advice. And that got me in
Yeah.
to start to eat more fruit. And now
Yeah.
it's just it's second nature, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
like-
got taken fruit a little bit. So yeah, very sad. Gotta count it. And then we have a question, a very funny one. Well, not funny one, but I guess everyone's really asking trail runners about toilet stops in
Oh,
trails.
yeah, this is the main
it's a
thing.
topic, right? That's I think the first thing we get asked all the time. How do you go to the toilet in trail? We just go. So the question is, what should people avoid eating on a long run to avoid those toilet trips? Like, for example, this person saying that maybe peanuts have too much fiber. Is there any foods that maybe would help, having to stop much often, or things that maybe would help?
I would just say like train your gut.
Yes.
We said that.
I said
before.
that as well.
Train your gut. Like when you're preparing for these long races, you also want to try different kind of nutritional interventions or nutritional strategies. No,
Yeah.
because one no on these events, it's like you do not try something new in the race.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. But in your
But
long
that's-
runs for training, even for training, I guess
Yeah, like
you will
for
have to go
training-
through those uncomfortable
Yeah.
moments of having to stop.
Uncomfortable indeed.
Yeah. Sometimes your bowel will betray you.
And I think even if you eat everything perfectly, if your stomach is having one of those off days, is going to
nothing
happen.
you can do about it.
Yeah,
And also, I guess it would depend also in the things, not the things that you're eating at the moment, but the things that you ate before.
Yeah. Usually, what happens, with this kind of like gut stress, it is something you ate the day before.
Yeah.
No, so
So
you
instead of
probably
like
did-
focusing in what should I eat in my long run today, is like what should I eat on the day before my long run, or my 2-3 days before the long run, because that's where the problem maybe is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I don't have such a bad gut issues. I don't know if it was my DNA, my genetics, or it's because I've always had a great nutritionist, but I've never had to battle like a bad gut. So
but also, it's interesting, Albar, that you were saying about the gut there. Am I right in saying that there can still be, so say for example, anxiety? Does that affect the gut and nervousness?
Yeah.
So, for example, on Tania's run, that she could have that anxiety and nervousness on a particular day, and then
you know how
that
many
will
times we
affect
go
it.
to
So
the
there's nothing
toilet
much
and then
can do.
morning of the race?
Yeah. Right.
5 times.
That's
it's just nervous.
Yeah, whenever you go to a race, you'll see all these runners line up in the potty part. Like, it's just like this anxiety. It's just like they know.
It is.
No?
It is. Exactly. So yeah, definitely. That's great. So I think that is a good closing statement. Like, train your gut.
Finish on the potty.
Finish in the potty. We like that topic. We are going to do a whole day of that topic. Is I've been in a couple of chats, and that's the first topic that comes across. But yeah, definitely, I think that is maybe a good point. If, like I said, I have never had experienced any issues, even in my races either. Yeah, maybe in the morning because I'm nervous. It's not like my gut is doing anything wrong. It's just normal. But I think it's because I've always had you next to me, having a great nutrition, not only in race day, but before the race day, off season, during season. I think my nutrition is usually all right. Yeah, because obviously I have you by my side. Of course, I do go off a little bit, maybe some days, because we are humans and we love to do that. Some days, maybe most days. No, just kidding. But it's part of being, happy. And if I'm happy, I know I perform better and I am in a better mood. And if you're in a better mood, your energy levels are higher up. And if you're higher, everything gets better if your mood and everything is just good. So yes to that extra slice of cake. Anyway, once in a while, people, once in a while. But yeah, so I do, in that sense, I do want to thank you so much for, first of all, for coming in and chatting with us. And second, to being always here for me. I am so excited for taking this challenge with you, obviously, next to me. And we already have a strategy planned for all the way to before the race. I will maybe share it with all of you later on. If anyone's interested in stage racing, maybe I can do a blog post and I write down what. But again, it would depend a lot in yourself. So don't see my blog post and think, I can do the same thing myself and I'm going to be great. No, we learned that is specific to the person and very personal. So thank you so much, Alvar,
for coming up.
And where can people find you? Do you only take my athletes, or you're taking athletes outside?
You can contact me on my social media, in my Instagram, Facebook. I'm Albar Bisu. You can find me there.
We'll put a link.
I'll put a link down below if anyone's interested to for a nutrition plan. He's a sports nutritionist, and we appreciate you being on board today.
Thanks, Albar.
Have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Albar.
Bye. Adios, amigo.
Bye. Adios.
Bye. That was super interesting. I thought...
you can take those off.
I thought...
hold on, because Cam, I think, needs to change.
I thought...
That's good.
Good.
That was so brilliant. I thought that...
did you miss your friend Albar?
I did, yeah. But there was some really good information on that stuff I didn't know. See, when we were talking about the weather and stuff like that, how it makes a difference, and then metabolism and stuff, that's not stuff that you can pick up and read anywhere.
he answered your question even without you
Without me asking it.
I know. He answered a lot of questions that I had that I didn't even ask. It just came up. So
I hope
great.
that people find that super informative, because it is really, really interesting.
It's one of those things that I think I pick up too late. Like, I think it would be too late for me now to go into and study, but it's so interesting. Like, I need to pick one thing, it's like when you study, I don't know, being a doctor, you need to pick one, because there's so many like niches and little things. I love the body, and I love body mechanics, and I love like endurance sports. So, but other part that I think is like second is nutrition. It's so incredible, because it affects so much what I'm passionate about, that it's just incredible.
And you know what I like about Albar as well, even through my programs and yours, he doesn't write some things off. So for example, if you turn around and say, no, what it is, Albar, I love spaghetti bolognese.
You're like, all right,
he will include spaghetti bolognese, but what he'll do is he'll work your plan around that.
Exactly.
So it's not like, I think some people have this fear of, is if I get a nutritionist, they're only going to have me eating kale and lettuce
or
and
crazy
tomatoes,
stuff, because I had some of those as well.
And possibly an air soup. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so it's not like that when it comes to it.
Absolutely,
so it's really good.
It is
really,
amazing.
Really
so
totally
recommended. I will leave the link below.
Yep.
And well, that's it for today. Life update. We are, I didn't even wrote how, 9 weeks away from the first desert. And next week, guys, we are not going to be around, because we are going to be traveling to Dubai to leave all our belongings. Because if you remember, right, we are about to move in a couple of weeks. So we decided to go and drop the things off first, and then come and pick up the dog. So we won't be here, but we'll be in our Instagrams just documenting
what is going on,
what is going in that part of the world. And what else do we have? And when we come back, we have super interesting episode with Sam, the race organizer of Racing the Planet. So like I said, I'm so excited for that one. If someone has seen it all, it's her. If she can answer any questions about, I think this or any staged race, it's her.
I think she'll be really good to tap on and information on the stage races, because she's done it for a long time. She really understands it. And actually, we talked about it on a previous podcast, is when I was listening to her on the Zoom call with everybody, some of the stuff she was really, really interested. She was talking about, so it'll be good for people to hear.
And she's so open, like she shares steps and everything. She's not a runner, but I don't know if she was a runner maybe at some time in her life. We can ask her that. That's a good question. But she's so knowledgeable, because she's been leading this Racing the Planet. So I am so excited to have her over. So if you have, again, any questions, if you maybe have a little bit of a bug or trying to, want to get into any of these races, you can ask me, or we'll have Sam, obviously the professional in this kind of races, to let us know.
Looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that. And so won't be here next week, but we will see you the following week, and we'll have that special episode, which with a lot more information about our move and how's our things moving in Dubai. Or not. So, and, they were asking me about my visa, if I was able to sort my visa.
I'm sure you'll remember, I think it was the last podcast, I was saying that for anybody out there doing these stage races in other places, get your visa sorted. So, there's been a bit of a up and down.
We're still in the same boat. We still don't know what's happening. Well, we do know.
Tania does not run the world.
Tania does not run the world, because she doesn't get the visa.
Because she doesn't get the visa.
I do need the visa to South Africa, right? So now we figured out that I do need the visa. So now I applied for that. There was one in Edinburgh, one office. So, and I need... One of the requirements is you need 3 blank pages in your passport for them to put the visa, again, to stick it on it. Well, my passport is like 4 pages black. Like I am cutting it very narrow. Like I only have 4 left. And we have this trip to Dubai. So I am going to be praying for the stamp guy, to please don't stamp in a clean page, because that would definitely mess us about. I have the exact pages to to make it.
You should make some merch so that you turn up and it just says, "Do not
Don't
stamp my pampers."
don't stamp a white page because I would be screwed. Thank you. That would mess everything up. So I'm gonna try to, like, when I give my passport, like, excuse me, can you not post it there? I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but so that's gonna be an exciting part. Just pleasing the guy not to stamp a blank page. And then the other one is that I needed to be a resident in the UK, which I am, but my resident card is going to expire right after my trip to South Africa. But I was not thinking of renewing my residency here because obviously we're moving.
Yeah.
So I can only apply for the South African visa in Edinburgh if you have your resident card has certain periods validate, like, as after the trip.
So what we're asking
It's not.
is for everybody out there, if they can pray to the running gods that Tania gets our visa, otherwise it'll be not racing the planet.
People, it's just very stressful.
But we've
do
already
have
started
plan B.
looking at China and looking at everything else just now
Yeah.
to try and get things organised.
And we have plan B. So I don't have that BRP, my resident thing. So I already emailed the people to say, hey, I don't have that requirement because I am not going to be living here anymore. So I don't need to renew it. So what we're going to do with that? So I'm kind of in the limbo because I don't live here, but I'm from Mexico, but I'm moving into Dubai and I don't have the Dubai residency yet because we haven't moved yet. So I am living in between, like, this, gray
Very
space.
confusing. Even I'm confused.
Yeah. So hopefully we made it through. And if not, we have Sam, actually, very helpful. I was messaging her about my dilemma and she said, oh, you can fly to Namibia directly to Windhoek, which is another airport, without passing through South Africa. So worst comes to worst is we take a flight to, I would have to go from Dubai to Frankfurt because that's the only place that they fly to Windhoek directly, and Windhoek, Walvisveen, and then we're there. So that's worst comes to worst because that will mean that I will have to miss the flight that I already purchased and I have. So, but if you have to do, you have to do. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to fight for this one, but we'll see. Yeah.
So there's a lesson learned there.
Just wanted to update you all because it's been quite a stressful days on top of trying to pack all our lives here and weight everything. And just we're leaving on Friday afternoon. We're leaving all our life here and just packing a bag and just going. But we'll be back. But it's been quite stressful as well, packing and leaving everything here sorted. But yeah, we'll come back with some more updates on that end. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Hope you enjoy this very informational podcast today. And yeah, enjoy your weekend and keep doing whatever makes you
Ultra happy.
ultra happy.